see that's you, man? Hey, yo, unlock this fucking cage, man. I'm banging on everybody, man. Load the fuck up, nigga. Shit. Coming straight up the South Bronx. Lil' Cuban nigga named Cito. Moving coke, also known as Perico. Shit. I'm moving it by the kilo. My shit is fire. One sniff will make your cheek blow. I'll call my Dominicano and tell him I'm not Tony Montana, but I need about 11. I got a Mac 10 and I got an extra 7. 7 Goonie niggas loaded. That beef shit is deaded. I'm back on my hungry shit, fuck it. Ready to tell a nigga suck my dick and take it how he want it. It's nothing to pay one of my young boys to let the llama spit.
Woo-wee! All lines are full, Tornado announced. Damn, Saint, you just got here and look at this shit. Saint grinned. Open the gate, let him through, he encouraged. Oh, I will. Tornado narrowed his eyes, still showing his wide, misleading grin. Saint showed a sleight of hand and nodded in a gentlemanly fashion. We've got Crystal from Dallas. Hello, Crystal. Please state your question to our guest, Dr. Saint Akhenaten. Hello, Dr. Acton. Saint ran his finger along the corner of his mouth and smirked. It's Dr. Akhenaten. And hello to you too, Crystal. The caller giggled, her southern dialect seeming almost forced. She ignored his correction and went on with her statement. I really don't have... Well, I do have a question, but I also have a comment. Make it fast, Crystal, DJ Tornado urged. We've got people waiting to get through, sweetie. Yeah, okay. Well, I want the brothers to know that I'm still down for y'all. There aren't a lot of black women chasing white men or Chinese men or whatever. We still want black men. What is your question, Crystal? The DJ interrupted. She cleared her throat. I want to know why you are interfering in our relationships. We have enough problems. I don't have an issue with you having a black wife. Good for you. Do you. But that is your life, not everyone else's. I hate when people that are not black come into our community and try to tell us what to do. Her tone became increasingly angry. Saint grinned, exposing his gleaming white teeth under the harsh studio lights. DJ Tornado looked at him inquisitively. Saint rubbed his chin while he listened to the irate caller and casually leaned back in his chair, pivoting ever so slightly. Saint, would you like to respond to that? Yes. He sat up and rested his folding hands. Crystal, what we have here is called an intended audience. For instance, when a company makes a product, say a light bulb, that product is for specific people. It isn't for people that don't want to be enlightened. It isn't for people that prefer candles only. It isn't for people that don't like illumination. It isn't for people that prefer to read, eat, and fuck in the dark. He watched DJ Tornado quickly turn around in his chair and wave to the producer. Hey, Joe, he whispered to a man behind a partition. Make sure you have your finger on the trigger, man. Saint knew what that meant. It meant that he wouldn't be asked to tone down his profanity, and that they'd let some slip by, but not other ones. They'd silence. He didn't care. He was going to have his say, just the way he wanted it served. Hot, hard, fast, and brutal. So, Crystal, I'm not interfering in your relationships, that of the black community, as you stated. And with that said, please don't try to interfere in mine either. And that is what you are inherently doing when you try to tell me what my business is and who it should be with as it pertains to my passions. Saint smiled and clasped his hands together. If things were going so swimmingly for you, you wouldn't give a shit about what I was doing and saying because I'd be a mere ripple in the ocean. There would be no consequences to my presence. The people that need my message get it and want it. The people that don't, he shrugged, it wasn't meant for them. So in other words, Crystal, his deep voice dropped, you are not the intended audience. Stay in the dark, Hurricane Crystal, and enjoy yourself. Damn! DJ Tornado put his fist up to his mouth and laughed, instigating with all of his might. He said you were like Hurricane Sandy, only your name is Crystal. You in the dark, sis. I like that. That was slick. The DJ nodded in Saint's direction. Again, Saint wasn't falling for it. Okay, let me let her respond. Saint peered at him, knowing he'd find out soon enough. Tornado would turn this into an eating frenzy. The man was just biding his time. The day was still young. All of that bullshit he just said was unnecessary. Now, hold on, Crystal. You can't. The DJ interrupted. No, you tell him to hold on. I want to. He cut off her mic. Okay, hold up. DJ Tornado made an X with his hands for a timeout. Callers, I need to make one thing clear. Don't call here going off and then get mad when this man defends himself. And another thing. Okay, we are not a show for kids, but watch the language. I'm not trying to get fined. Now, Crystal, I'm going to take your line off mute now, and you can continue on. Saint watched him push a green button. Let me make this point, and I'm getting off the phone, she huffed. I ain't calling about any damn electricity and light bulbs, Dr. Agnaton. I called about you telling black women to leave our black fathers, uncles, brothers, and cousins and find us a white man. We are strong people, and just like everything else we've been through, we will get through whatever perceived crisis you think is happening just the same. This is the worst advice we could get right now. Right now, we need to be pulling together, not pulling apart. She slammed her phone down, causing it to crackle through the DJ's and Saint's headset. He quickly disconnected her call. So do you have a response to that? The DJ asked, smiling and shaking his head in fake disbelief as he looked at Saint. Yes, and I'll make it short because I know we need to get to other people. We out the gate racing, DJ Tornado laughed as he slapped the table. Damn, Houston, it's kind of early to fight, isn't it? He cackled. Saint smirked and looked away. This is a very common reaction from some black men and women who are threatened by my presence. I've received countless emails and at one point in time, phone calls of this same nature. So at this point, he shrugged, it's an old hat. When a person is threatened by another person, it is because they are fearful that some distribution of power will be uneven. Now, whether that is true or not is no longer the case once adrenaline kicks in. The body and mind, once aligned to this realization, will decide from that point what is going to happen. Crystal is what some people call stuck in Blackistani. Okay, hold up. What's Blackistani, man? Sounds like Pakistan. What is that? It's a collective mentality, a herd mentality, if you will. Whenever an outsider or an even outside thought process comes into the fold and tries to enlighten, educate, and for all intents and purposes, assist that herd. The crowd is aroused and the people cling to one another like sheeple. Fear of alienation is very strong, and what some black women are doing is turning away in terror, running after the black men who are angry about the alien that has landed, that being me, and agreeing with them, saying that I am a threat when they know deep down that in fact may not be true. But independent thinking is much frowned upon. They rather stick to what is predictable, to what they actually know, than to venture out away from the crowd and risk alienation and social stigma, as well as other unfavorable consequences. So you are calling Crystal a sheep? You said sheeple. Tornado paused and grinned from ear to ear. Saint minced his words. DJ Tornado, I know it is your job to keep the show riveting, but... No, seriously, Saint. He grinned as he twirled leisurely in his seat. No, you said herd. You know, followers. Makes me think of sheep, just like you implied. You're getting off track, but I'll humor you. Please do. Consider it done. Comedy Hour has officially started, but no one is laughing. The men shared brief, silent exchanges. Couldn't it be that Crystal truly feels that you're wrong? Of course, that's what it is. She is convinced. No one is arguing that. Then why do you imply that she's just dismissing your statements out of fear? Because being convinced and being wrong are not polar opposites, especially if one is not sat down and thought long and hard about why they are clinging to beliefs that are not working well for them. Wrong is wrong, regardless of a badge of emotional approval. they can coexist quite peacefully. Saint chuckled and pointed to his chest. I can be convinced about the fact that the Ravens suck, for instance, but it doesn't make that shit true. That's an opinion that every person on this planet is entitled to have. Now, whether our government says so or not, we all have the right to inform an opinion and hold dear to it. So are you saying she is wayward in her convictions or in her reasoning behind them? It's more a matter of personal truth and how that plays out for the individual, Tornado. For instance, I can be convinced that no one needs a college education. I can cite examples such as Jay-Z and Kanye West, two men devoid of college educations but are millionaires. My two examples, however, do not negate the truth or the polar opposite, which is that most people will not grow up and be the next Jay-Z or Kanye. My convictions haven't changed anything, regardless of the reasonings behind them. It didn't make the shit suddenly true, but I can still feel I'm 1,000% right. I mean, just because someone feels something doesn't mean diddly squat. Feelings have little to do with the facts. So, feelings aren't valid? Of course they are. They just don't change shit. Both men burst out laughing. That's the entire problem. Crystal is emotional. When people get too emotional and don't balance it with a well-rounded thought process, they don't listen, and half of what they say doesn't make sense. She isn't thinking. She isn't proactive or self-protective. She is stuck within her matrix, which is built out of emotions, the main one being fear. She cares more about the black man's opinion of her than her own well-being. That's emotional. There is no rationality to it.